Matthew Kinley. I'm here in Reno, Nevada at the National, would be the
American Legion National Convention.
Yep, I'm here. I'm very honored to be here with the National Commander, Charles Schmidt.
Yes.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Matthew, first of all, welcome to Reno and the 99th National Convention of the American Legion, the largest veterans organization that's been serving veterans and their families and standing them up for America since 1919. That's who we are. We're coming up on our 100th anniversary, obviously. But Matthew, I'm the National Commander of the American Legion, again, the largest veterans organization. And next Thursday, the American Legion, when we come toward the end of our convention, we elect the new national commander. And this year it's going to be a historic convention in that we're going to elect our first female national commander.
That is a big deal.
Denise Rohan from Wisconsin. It is a big deal. Of course, as you know or may not know, is now there are more women serving in the military. About 18 to 22% of the active duty forces are female. So females have taken a greater role in our national security and in other places, not only in the public sector, but also in such as the American Legion.
Right.
Interestingly, women could join the American Legion before they could vote for president of the United States.
Really?
Really.
So what year are we talking here that they were?
Well, we were chartered by Congress in 1919 as a wartime veterans organization, a nonpartisan organization, which means regardless of who's president, regardless of who's on that aisle or who's on the other aisle, it's irrelevant to us. What we do care is when we bring some of the issues, concerns of veterans and national security of the United States before them, that they come to the table, leave their differences aside, and we have a discussion of what's best for our veterans, their families, and what's best for our country.
Right.
So,
well, that's great to hear. It's made by veterans and it's for veterans.
Absolutely. You know, interesting, a little history about the American Legion. You know, the World War I veterans, I do believe, were the first greatest generation. Because those doughboys, as they were called, as you know, you probably heard that term, they left the United States and went to Europe and helped save Europe from tyranny. The United States was a little late in entering that war for whatever reasons, but they helped save Europe from tyranny. And even before they came back home, they were concerned about their buddies, their fellow soldiers,
Their friends.
and their friends, absolutely. Because many of them, like all wars, are brutal. But World War I left many of those doughboys physically and mentally harmed. So who's going to take care of them? Who's going to take care of the widows and the orphans back home? Because many of them, of those doughboys, now rest in those beautiful cemeteries in Europe. So who's going to take care of them? And they were concerned about compensation. They were concerned about employment. Because many of them left their jobs and went over there, as that song goes, over there to fight that war. So when they come back, who's going to take care of them? And also they were concerned about patriotism, because when they left the United States to go over there, patriotism was a strong, vibrant red, white, blue. So when they got back home, what would be the effect of the war over there back over here at home? And of course, as many doughboys, I'm sure, have said, we fought the big one to end all wars. There will be no more wars. They're also concerned, what if there is? What about the future of national security of the United States of America? And as a result of that, Matthew, the members of the American Expeditionary Forces, under the leadership of Teddy Roosevelt Jr., they got together and caucused in Paris, France, on March 15, 1919. And during that caucus, they addressed those concerns. But they were looking for the answer of who, because that was the first major war the United States fought on foreign soil.
Right.
So who's going to take care of it? Because our government wasn't prepared to take care of it. And as a result of their discussions, they answered the question, who? It was them. And thus they formed the American Legion. In 8 months, from from March 1919 to November 1919, they formed over 500 American Legion posts, and they
That fast?
That fast, and they recruited over 700,000 members. So they have a strong voice. So they petitioned Congress to take care of those doughboys. And as a result, in 1921, we saw the Veterans Bureau form, which is now the VA, is a former of the VA. The doughboys, the American Legion,
They did that.
yeah. So, it's a great history, a great tradition. And that's why we're here in Reno, to not only carry on that legacy, but address those concerns that we may have about veterans. And again, that's past, present, and anybody wearing the uniform right now is a veteran. And also those that may serve in the future. So,
Well, who would know veterans better than veterans?
exactly. And many in this convention, just a random sample of those who understand and have went through those experiences, and some of them were good and some of them were bad, of how veterans, particularly those on that, the sacrifices they give
For their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you were mentioning what a big deal this incoming commander is, being the first female commander. And on our trip, we spent about 50 hours so far, from Ohio to Chicago and every state in between on our way here. And I've been learning a lot about women in service, their history, the struggle, not only that veterans in general go through, but women had to go through and to get to the equal level they are now. And local to Ohio in Dayton, written by Colonel Barlow and Susan Hill Morad, is Saluting Our Grandmothers. It's a new book. It came out, I believe, earlier this year, and this is a gift for you. It's autographed by them themselves.
Wow.
But in the book, it has multiple sources. It has photos from the past and the present. It talks about early days of World War II, where women started off in World War I. And as the book goes on, it goes through the history, and it addresses how, sort of like you were talking about, how now they have worked their way up, how they are equal, finally. And I think I've read a good amount of this book. I love it. I think you would really like it too. So that's why we wanted to give it to you as a gift.
Thank you, Matthew. That is a pretty special book. And of course, we never forget, or we should never forget, those who serve, regardless of man or woman,
Everybody.
because it took an effort, not only on the front or the home front, to preserve the freedoms and democracies that we now enjoy, a way of life we're accustomed to. And it's men and women, such as example of what's outlined in this book, and also the example of our parents, grandparents, and our descendants and our families that have served this country. So, and as I tell Legionnaires, we inherited that legacy that was established in Paris, France in 1919. And it's our responsibility today to carry that legacy forward and make sure that those veterans that have served are not forgotten. And to mention the not forgottens, those who have yet to come home. And because there are still families waiting for closure. And we were in Hanoi, Vietnam in November to learn more about those who have yet to come home in the Vietnam War. And so that's what we do. We don't forget them. But also we're concerned about that the men and women serving in uniform now are taken care of. They have the things they need, and their families as well. And also
They certainly earned it.
Absolutely, or they are earning it as they serve. But and also in the future, we don't know how many men and women we're going to have in uniform. But I say this: as long as there are conflicts around our globe, and there are right now, as we know, there will always be a need for a strong military, for defense or what have you. And what that means is American men and women wearing the uniforms of our armed services. And as long as that happens, and of course, it's still happening today, there'll always be a need for the American Legion family. So that's why we continue to do what we do. And coming up on 100 years, it is a really big deal. And not too many organizations, and I say volunteer organizations, because we're all volunteers, last that long. But it's, sometimes when you reach a major milestone, such as 100-year, reach that pinnacle, you're like, oh, okay, we're here, so we already, we can relax.
Yeah.
Well, again, as long as there are men and women wearing the uniforms, as long as we've got veterans in hospitals and veterans' homes, as we've got families, why, there will be a need for that American Legion. So the 100th anniversary will just be a milestone in the history and the life of this organization, because we have another century to go.
I was going to say, just looking forward to that next milestone.
Absolutely.
You were talking about remembering veterans, and that was making me think, part of the mission I'm here on, it's my class IMTV, is a partnership with the local VFW and the American Legion, and Never Stop Serving is its name. We are trying to create a veterans digital library, which means we can take all physical evidence, pictures, biographies, everything we would need about information about veterans, and we can digitalize it so that it can never be lost. So in 200 years, or who knows how long, you'll be able to see in their time, in the future, you'll be able to keep track of these veterans and see just their mission, see what they went through, where they served, everything about that. And that's only part of the reason I'm here. But I think in our mission here, we're really trying to work with the American Legion and help that grow into something huge, because we have a pretty big mission right now, but we're wanting to get as many veterans as part of this so that they can always be remembered.
Sure. That's admirable. Because a lot of times, and I had the privilege of being in Pearl Harbor, or at Pearl Harbor rather, on December 7th this past year. The 75th anniversary of that terrible day. And there's not too many survivors left, particularly those in the Navy. Now, there's more Army, Air Force survivors, because, of course, they were on shore. But I got to talk to some of them. In fact, I talked to a 100-year-old veteran, survivor. He was a Navy man on a ship. He survived the ship. And interestingly, he was writing his third book. And I said, that's fantastic, because us young people need to hear your stories. I talked to a 95-year-old Stuart Kale. Stuart was in, or Sterling Kale. Sterling was in 3 wars. World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
Wow.
And I said, Sterling, you make sure you document those stories, because, again, us youngsters need to hear those stories. Because once the veteran is no longer with us, those stories are gone. So I admire you for what you're doing.
And I think that's really part of it. We just want to make sure it is remembered.
Yeah.
Always. But I think that just about covers everything. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Well, I would say that I understand that you're probably going to be a new member of the Sons of the American Legion, which is part of the American Legion that was chartered at our 1932 National Convention in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
And the Sons bring value to the American Legion. They do a lot of programs in the Child Welfare Foundation, raising funds for that, which enables agencies that seek grants from that foundation to help small children. And I got to talk to a lady from the National Children's Cancer Society, and she came to the Children Youth Conference in October and saying, thank you, American Legion, because what they do is they help young children, small children that are being treated for cancer. Help them young children to understand the mental aspect that chemotherapy, radiation, or other treatments has on our young bodies. And that's just one of the things that the Sons of the American Legion post. And that's pretty awesome.
That's incredibly.
But we encourage those that serve. Seek us out on our webpage. Excellent webpage. Anything you want to know about the American Legion, just about anything, at www.legion.org. And as I ask you, if anybody had served, or your grandfather served in World War II, and I think you would most likely be honored that you would be serving in our ministries.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what a lot of sons do. And there's sons that people think that the Sons of American Legion are a bunch of younger gentlemen.
But it could be anyone.
It could be anyone. There's sons that much older than me. But they served in honor of somebody, grandfather, or could be even a grandmother who served.
Right.
But that's very admirable.
Well, I never got to meet my grandfather, but anything I can do that I think would mean something to him, I'll be more than happy to.
And I suspect some of your classmates might be in the same situation, so perhaps you can share that thought with them.
I definitely.
And also some of their parents served in the active duty most recently. Right now, the largest group of veterans that are eligible to join the American Legion are Vietnam veterans.
Yes.
So, of course, we welcome younger veterans from the Iraq and Afghanistan era and so forth. So we're here for them. So we appreciate you stopping by.
Oh yeah, it was a pleasure to meet you.
All right, well, Matthew, and thanks for the book.
You're welcome.
That need to be something to read after next week. And just to commemorate our little visit, our little chat here, let me give you the National Commander's coin. And the National Commander's coin. Every National Commander has their own coin. And our new National Commander, she will have hers as well, which probably a lot of people will want that one. This is my coin. It's got the Legion emblem on one side. And this is, being from Oregon, it's kind of the Oregon Trail related.
Yeah.
And what we've got inscribed on here is carry the legacy forward. That's my theme this year. As I mentioned, that legacy started in Paris, France in 1950. And also, this is the National Commander's lapel pin. It's kind of shaped like Oregon, because we're from Oregon.
Right.
But it also is the first National Commander pin and coin in the history of the American Legion from Oregon. So we're pretty proud.
Well, I can't even express how thankful and honored I am by that. That really means a lot to me.
It's our honor.